primarily be your career objectives and your career goals, and then keeping that in mind, choose a particular program. Looking at the current situation and looking at the new administration, I'm sure that each application would be scrutinized very carefully. Not that it wasn't scrutinized earlier, it is going to be much more scrutinized than ever. Scenario and the kind of precautions and the steps that the American embassy has taken, they have started identifying agents, those who've been scheduling appointment for others in bulk. Hi. By April, I'm sure that there'll be a lot of students, those will be getting their I-20s from the universities in order to apply for the visas. So I'm going to be talking about the documents, the process, financial papers, the difference between the different financial papers and why should you be carrying those documents, and what are the key elements in order to qualify for a visa. So step one is to get your I-20. And even before you start looking at your I-20 and deciding on a particular university, what I believe this year, it is going to be more towards the quality of education and the reputation of the university. Because in the past, if we go back and see what's been happening around US and in Canada and other countries, there have been a lot of students, those who have gone there, probably they were not as authentic or legitimate students as the country would have expected for them to be there. So my focus this year, and I would request all the students to also focus on the quality of education, the reputation of the university, and also looking at various universities before deciding on a particular university where you want to go and study. So your focus should primarily be your career objectives and your career goals, and then keeping that in mind, choose a particular program which is in sync with your career objectives. Focus on the skill sets, focus on the quality of education, focus on the curriculum, the content, and then the university, and then choose a particular university that really fits into your complete profile. Once you get your I-20, then you start looking at how do you start working on your visa application. Looking at the current situation and looking at the new administration, I'm sure that each application would be scrutinized very carefully. Not that it wasn't scrutinized earlier, it is going to be much more scrutinized than ever before. Make sure that you complete your visa application form, the DS-160, very carefully. Do not submit your application until you're really sure that this information is absolutely correct. If there are any changes to be made, make sure that you make those changes before submitting your visa application form. Okay, in case if you realize that you've made a mistake while filling your DS-160 but it has been submitted, be rest assured you can go back and file a new DS-160 and carry both the confirmation page, and during your fingerprinting you can tell the official that in your previous application or previous DS-160 there was an error and you filled a new one. What I'm stressing here is make sure to fill your DS-160 absolutely correctly, right? So step 1, get your I-20. Step 2, fill your DS-160. Step 3 is now to create your profile to pay the visa application fees and schedule the appointment. Looking at the current scenario and the kind of precautions and the steps that the American embassy has taken, they have started identifying agents, those who've been scheduling appointment for others in bulk. And if you look at their Instagram page or their what do you say, the official page of the US Embassy, they have made it very clear that they will not be tolerating anything which is going to be outside the preview, which they would term that as a fraud. So make sure that don't rush and don't start getting stressed if you're not getting an appointment for your F1. I'm sure the number of I-20s being issued, the number of SEVIS fees being paid, there is a data which is collected by all the agencies, which includes the immigration, the Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of State, to be in sync to release those kind of numbers for students to schedule their appointments. So do not stress. Keep looking for your appointments, and I'm sure you will get those appointments relatively easier than the past couple of years. So be rest assured. So now step 4 is to start collecting your financial papers. So there could be a significant difference between the documents that you had possibly sent for your I-20 to be released, which could be a bank loan letter or a financial statement from the bank called the bank balance certificate, or a combination of these two. However, when you go in for your visa interview, you need to carry documents of your family, because the objective of the visa officer is to look at the financial strength of the family, not just the availability of funds. So there's a huge difference between these two. So when I talk about the financial stability, that you have to show what your parents are doing here, what is the annual income, what is the total savings and investment that your family has, which could include fixed deposit, shares, bonds, mutual funds, LIC policies, all of those documents put together, and also your property documents to show how established your family is here in India, right? The availability is what you have stored or you've stacked in your bank account. The officer is not only looking at that. There's also a lot of confusion that a lot of people call me and say that, should we show 1.5 of the I-20 amount or double the I-20 amount? Please understand, nobody would keep that kind of amount in a saving account. You know, According to the visa regulation, any document prepared for the purpose of visa is invalid. So do not try and stack all your money into the savings. It should be as flowing as possible, because a lot of people, a lot of families have different modes of savings and investments. That's exactly what the officer is looking at, right? So try and carry those documents when you go in for your visa interview. Now, when you start preparing for the interview, you have to be very sure, because US visa is purely based on interview. An interview is subjective. What you say, what the officer could understand, could be two different things at start, right? In order to prepare for the visa interview, understand your career goals, understand your curriculum, try and sync those things together for a better growth. What I would suggest and recommend is that take some guidance, understand your profile. It is good that the digital platform is filled with so much of information, but it is also information overload. People those who have gone for an interview are posting their views. There are a lot of people, they're posting their understanding. However, it is very important to understand your own profile and create a storyline which resonates with your own career goals and objectives. What I'm suggesting here is, be very sure of what you want to go and study, where you want to go and study, and how do you articulate your answers to project your career goals and objectives. Suggestion: take guidance from a person that you believe could really help you. Do not just read online and go and give those cramped answers, because the officers are not interested in looking those cramped answers or listening to those. They can identify that the person has crammed those answers. Do not do that. So that's the kind of precaution that I would suggest and recommend students to follow it. For more details, if you need one-on-one sessions with us, you may contact us. You may follow us on Instagram, and you can also post your comments here so that we can get back to you with your solutions. And I would also suggest to encourage us, do leave your comments or share it with a person who may like it. Thank you very much.